What is up, ladies and gentlemen? So I got this question that came up about buying an M3. Specifically, the guy goes, what do you want to look out for when you're buying a car like this? So mechanically, there's really nothing to look out for. There's no subframe cracking issues like on the E46 M3s, which were the, I think, 2001 to 2006 model run. There's no Vanos issues, however you want to pronounce it, which is basically the cam issues. You had a lot of valve clacking and stuff like that, again on the E46 M3s. Motor solid. There's really nothing to look out for aside from regular maintenance. Now, BMW recommends ridiculously stupid oil change intervals for this car. I don't know why, if they're trying to get people to blow motors up or what the story is. I don't even know what the intervals are. I think there's something like 16,000 or 20,000 kilometers, but they're fairly big. I change the oil twice a year. I don't put a lot of clicks on the car. So you want to look at intervals at least every 6 months, or probably 5,000 to 6,000 kilometers. Anything beyond that, I would question the owner's interest in maintaining the car properly. Thing with these cars, and again, like all of these things can kind of apply to any, like buying any car. So one of the things I used to do with cars before I would buy them is I'd take the dipstick out and I would rub my finger down the dipstick and just rub it between my fingers like this. And if I felt debris, metal, like gunky, sludgy stuff, you knew that there was a problem with the engine. You can't do that with the M3 because there's no dipstick anymore. It just has electronic level through the iDrive or through the dash computer. So there's no way to test that. But regular oil change intervals will demonstrate that the owner gave a shit about the motor and changing the oil. Other fluid changes, of course, on regular intervals, like brake flush and coolant, important, especially when you get it up over 80,000 kilometers. Aside from that, I can't really point to any other things. You want to look for signs of abuse. So if a car has been tracked, for example, modifications, if the car's been in an accident, an easy way that I learned to look for body damage, you can usually see colored variations or differences, but another thing that you could do is take a magnet on something like a thin piece of material, like soft material, and just run it over the body. And if there's no magnetic pull on certain parts of the body, you know that might have been filled with Bondo or something like that. Now, I believe the front quarter and the rear quarter on the M3s is a composite plastic, so it's not going to work there. But a lot of the other body panels, you know, you could basically run a magnet over a fine piece of microfiber or something you would use to clean like glasses, for example. So it doesn't scratch the car, but at least it has a magnetic pull. So that's another thing that you want to look for. A pre-purchase inspection, a PPI, is always a great idea. I bought this car from California. It was at a Nissan dealership, or sorry, Infinity dealership. So somebody traded in, I guess, for an Infinity, and had really low kilometers. But I sent it over to the closest BMW dealership to have their mechanics look the car over for mechanical issues, any signs of accident damage, and of course just to make sure all the software updates were up to date at that time. They found nothing, so it was a clean car. Any BMW mechanic that has know-how on these kinds of cars will know what to look for, and they'll go through it. I believe, and I don't know if this is accurate, if somebody knows, put in the comments below so people watching the video will find out, but I believe that they have a way of checking how many times the launch control was used on a double clutch transmission car. So if the car has been abused by somebody and it's been hammered over and over again, you're going to wear the clutch out. You're going to have a lot of clutch wear, maybe even gear wear as well. Again, I'm not a mechanic, so I'm kind of speaking out of my ass in this one, but it's one of those things where if you beat on it hard over and over again, so if the launch control is used multiple times, you're going to have considerable wear on it. It's hard on the car. I've never used it in this car. I don't know, maybe I'll try it out one day to see what it's like, but the person that owned the car before me was like a 50-something-year-old woman, so I doubt she used it too. Another thing that you can look for is odometer tampering, and I know on BMWs it's harder than Volkswagens and Mercedes. I have a friend that tells me that wind back the odometer on Mercedes, Volkswagen, and Audi quite easily. There's, I don't know, a thing you plug into the computer and they can pull it back. It doesn't work for BMWs. I don't know if he just doesn't have it or it's harder. But signs of tampering would include excessive wear that doesn't line up with what the odometer says. So very much like you might see a 40-year-old woman with great tits, chances are if they're that great, they might be fake if there's wear on, you know, obviously the face, because she's obviously 40 but she's got 18-year-old boobs. So same sort of thing in a car. You want to look for excessive wear. So if you know, things don't line up, like there's a lot of wear on the bolsters from getting in and out of the car, or the floor mats have considerable wear but it only shows 20,000 kilometers, that's a good sign that there might be some tampering with the odometer, and it really doesn't have that in the way of clicks. Aside from that, honestly, there's really nothing else to look out for on these cars. They're mechanically awesome. I've asked my mechanic over at Europa Motors. I deal with a guy by the name of David over there. They're in Markham, Ontario, so if you're local to the GTA Toronto, I'd recommend using them. But I've asked David every single time I go in, you know, do people report problems with these cars? And every single time the answer is no. So I'm not aware of anything. My car is just under 81,000 kilometers now. Runs perfect, haven't had issues. It doesn't burn oil. I don't track the car, so I don't abuse it. It doesn't get you know, hours of red line shifting over and over again. It does get, I step into it sometimes, probably, you know, daily basis every other day when I'm driving it, just to blow out the carbon off the cylinders. But aside from that, I got nothing to report. There's really nothing to look out for. It's a great car. Just make sure everything works, of course. Oh, last thing, sorry. One thing I will mention is German cars are sensitive to damage to wheels. So if there's curb rash, the wheels aren't balanced, or tires have been put on by a shop that doesn't have a well-calibrated machine, you will find the steering wheel to shake on the highway. So you want to test drive the car. Don't drive it on city roads, only make sure you get it on the highway and get it up to highway speeds. If you find there's a shudder or a shake in the steering wheel, that could be either a sign of an accident, one, or look at the wheels, especially on the fronts, to see if there's been curb rash or damage to them, because it just might be something as it needs a new set of wheels, or it could need properly balancing. Aside from that, there's really nothing else I can point to. The cars are mint. I'd highly encourage you to check one out and buy one if it's what you like. Great cars. Would I buy another one? Absolutely. Will I buy another one? I don't know. I might, actually, if I'm being honest, when this one is a little more old and tired, but that's it. Thanks for checking out the video, guys. Do me a favor, give it a thumbs up if you liked it, subscribe to the channel, and if you know anybody that's looking for an M3 or any car, actually, that could apply these tips to anything, send them the video. Thanks for checking out. See you guys later. Peace!